Hi, welcome to my video on the property of zero products part 2. And again, this is the second video in solving quadratic equations by different methods. But these first two videos are based on the product of zero. 0 times any number gives you 0. If A times B equals 0, then A equals 0, or B equals 0, or A and B can both be equal to 0. Then A and B are where A and B are expressions or variables. Let's explain. Solve for x when A times B equals 0. Steps. Let each factor equal 0. Solve each factor. So notice now that we have x times x plus 2, and just to show you, x times x is x squared plus 2x equals 0. So this is a quadratic. So we're dealing with, this chapter is all about x squared being a quadratic, x squared equation, or equation that has x squared in it, which means you have a quadratic. So if you have two expressions multiplied to give you 0, then x is 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. So if x is 0, that's solved. So x equals plus 2 becomes a minus 2. So this equation has two values, and the values are 0 and a negative 2. So x is 0 or negative 2. Either one will do it. And just to explain, if you take 0 and sub back in 0, 0, so you put 0 in the place of x here and here, you get 0 times 2, you get 0 equals 0. So 0 is one solution. If you take x as negative 2, so if you put a negative 2 in the place of x, put a negative 2 right here and here. So I sub the negative 2 in for each x. I get negative 2, got to do the brackets first, this is 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. So as you can see, we have an x squared. X times x gives me x squared. We have two solutions, two values now. So this is what we call the quadratic, a full unit. I'm going to do about 3 or 4 units on quadratics to fully explain. Very important. B, if negative 3x times x minus 1 equals 0, that means that negative 3x can equal 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. And if I divide by negative 3, they cancel out. X is equal to 0. 0 divided by negative 3 is 0. And in this one, x equals 1 when you move it over to the right side. Change the sign. So there's the solution for x here. So x can be 0 or 1. Two solutions again. Negative 3x times x is x squared, and a plus 3x. So you see we have x squared, a quadratic, degree 2, two solutions. C, x plus 4 times x minus 3 equals 0. So x plus 4 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. X equals negative 4, or x equals 3. So again, there's two solutions. You can have x as negative 4, or you can have x as 3. If you put a negative 4 right here, you'll get 0. Put a negative 4 here, you get negative 7. So 0 times negative 7 is a 0. If you take 3 and sub it in, put 3 here. 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 minus 3 is 0. 7 times 0 is 0. So there's two answers. Because there's, again, if A times B equals 0, then A can be 0, B can be 0, or both of them can be 0. The product of two numbers gives you 0, so that means we go 2x minus 8 equals 0, or 3x plus 2 equals 0. So 2x equals 8, divide by 2, x equals 4. 3x equals negative 2. Notice when I move the 8 over, it becomes plus. When I move the 2 over, it becomes a minus. Divide by 3. And you get x is negative 2/3. So again, a quadratic. Why? Because 2x times 3x gives me 6x squared. 2 answers. So the solution, you can have a 4 or 2/3 x. 2 of these will work. And we have a multiplication again. So 4x plus 3 equals 0. Or 7x minus 1 is 0. 4x equals negative 3. Divide by 4. X equals 3/4. And over here, as an OR, 7x equals 1. Divide by 7. X equals 1/7. So this time we have, again, 2 values. You get one coming from this expression. You get another one coming from this expression. E, we have x minus 10 times 2x minus 9. That's x minus 10 equals 0, or 2x minus 9 equals 0. X equals minus 10 becomes a plus 10. 2x minus 9 becomes a plus 9. And we divide by 2. X is 9 over 2. And I'll just write down the answers. And here, the answers are 10 or 9 over 2. There's 2 answers because, again, x times 2x squared, x times 2x is 2x squared, and x squared gives you 2 answers. Note, each equation above is quadratic. Each equation is quadratic. That means quadratic means you have an x squared. Notice in A, x times x plus 2 gives you x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. So we have a quadratic expression, and because it's x squared, we will have 2 answers. Because a times b equals 0, we get 1 for A and 1 for B. Let's continue. Practice means work these out. Pause the video one at a time, work them out to see if you know what you're doing. Here we go. If x times x minus 6 equals 0, x is 0, or x minus 6 equals 0. Minus becomes a plus when you move it over. The solutions are 0 and 6. And 4x equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Divide by 4. They cancel. X equals 0. And here the plus 2 becomes a minus 2, moving it to the right. And there's 2 solutions, 0 and a negative 2. Number 3. Again, we got 2 numbers or 2 expressions multiplied to give you 0. X minus 3 is equal to 0. Or x minus 9 equals 0. X equals 3. X equals 9. So 3 and 9 are the 2 solutions that will give you 0 in this equation. And again, we got a product. 4x plus 1 equals 0. Or 3x minus 7 equals 0. 4x equals negative 1. Divide by 4, cancels out. X equals negative 1/4. 3x equals 7. And divide by 3, x equals 7 over 3. They cancel. And again, there's 2 answers, negative 1/4 and 7 over 3. Number 5, 6x times 2x plus 6 equals 0. So that means 6x can be 0, or 2x plus 6 can be 0. Divide by 6, cancels, x equals 0. 2x equals negative 6, divide by 2, x equals negative 3. And there's 2 solutions because you have x times 6x times 2x gives you 12x squared, a quadratic. 2 answers, x squared, quadratic, 2 answers. And we got 2 brackets multiplied to give you 0, so 10x minus 8 is 0. or 12x plus 18 equals 0. And we solve this for x. Minus becomes a plus. Divide by 10. Cancels. And 10 over 8 becomes 4 over 5. Divide by 2. 12x equals negative 18. Divide by 12. Cancels. X equals. And 6 is the greatest is GCF. 6 into 12 goes 2. 6 into a negative 18 is negative 3. And there's two answers, 4/5 and a negative 3 over 2. And again, we got two brackets multiplied to give you 0. So we got 6x plus 4 equals 0, or negative 2x minus 6 equals 0. 6x equals negative 4. Divide by 6, cancels, x equals 2 into negative 4 goes negative 2, 2 into 6 goes 3, and negative 2x equals 6, divide by negative 2, cancels, give me 1, and 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3, and there's two answers, negative 2/3 and a negative 3. And we've got two products here equals 0, so each one of them can be equal to 0, or 11x plus 3 equals 0. Negative 9x equals negative 6. Divide by negative 9. Cancels. I get a 1, 1x. And a negative divided by negative positive. 3 into 6 goes 2. 3 into 9 goes 3. And 11x equals negative 3. Divide by 11. 11's cancel. I get x. And I get 3 over 11. So there's two answers. 2/3 and negative 3 over 11. And you can see 0 products. If you multiply two numbers that give you 0, then one of those numbers can be 0. And just more practice. Remember, we're always reviewing our skills. So the ones we just did were straightforward. Now, we got a little bit more to it. I just added a little tiny bit more. Now I have 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 4 equals 0. So notice this is a constant. So if I said 2 equals 0, and then I said x plus 1 equals 0, or if I said x minus 4 equals 0, notice the 0 is coming out of these two. How can I say 2 equals 0? So this is, I can't say that. So the only solutions is going to be in these two brackets. So x equals negative 1, x equals 4. Again, note, because there's a 2 here, this is a constant. So the zeros are in these two brackets, not in the 2. And some people will take this equation and divide by 2. Watch. If you take the equation and divide by 2, like that, and you divide by 2, the 2's cancel, and you get x plus 1, x minus 4 equals 0. So you can divide by 2 and get this equation. But the 2, if you just, I don't say ignore it, but you can't say 2 equals 0. So the 0 has got to be, that's an x plus 1. So what value of x do you put here to give you 0? Negative 1. What value of x do you put right here to give you 0? Has to be 4. It's the opposite. Minus 4, that has to be a plus 4. That's the plus 1, that has to be minus 1. Again, we have a negative 3 equals 0. 2x minus 7 equals 0. Or x plus 6 equals 0. We cannot have negative 3 equals 0, so we just ignore this constant. The zeros are in these two brackets. So 2x equals 7. Make that a 7. Divide by 2. X is 7 over 2. And x equals negative 6. So the two solutions are 7 over 2 and negative 6. So I just did a little bit extra here to put the 2 in front of these to show you that it does not affect the answer. And I have 3 more to do. Practice, solve for x. So notice we got 6 times x minus 2, x minus 5. So we ignore the 6. Again, I'll put that down and go x minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 6 equals, x minus 5 equals 0. I can't say, as a constant, so I have to forget about the 6. So x equals 2, x equals 5. So the solutions are 2 and 5. So the zeros are in these brackets, not right here. And again, we got a constant, negative 4 equals 0. I said, no, we can't say that. So the zeros are in these brackets. So we let each bracket equal 0, so x equals negative 16, 3x equals 4, divide by 3, x equals 4 over 3. So the solutions is negative 16 or 4 over 3. Two solutions. Again, because we have a quadratic. X times 3x is 3x squared. X times x is x squared. Quadratic, two answers. I have a quadratic. X minus 9 equals 0. 2x plus 1 equals 0. 7 equals 0, can't do. X equals 9. 2x equals negative 1. Divide by 2. X equals negative a half. And we got two answers, 9 or negative a half. Thank you. Notice the workings that you ignore the 6 and the 7 and the negative 4 and negative 3 and the 2. Thank you for viewing my video. If you like my video, click the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you very much.